It's Thursday, and today we are going to be breaking down the word worship. We are going to show the definition, where it came from, the way it's used a couple of times in the Bible for good and for bad. It's going to be awesome because have you ever thought about where the word worship came from? And for those of you that watched last week and are curious, yes, the husky is doing much better. She was diagnosed with pancreatitis. Kind of my fault, mostly my fault, because I added things to her food to get her to eat. I felt like she was losing weight. You know, she's 15. I wanted to make sure she ate good, and all I did was overwhelm her digestive system. So no more bacon grease, no more chicken fats, things like that. She is on a low-fat diet now and recovering nicely, getting her bouncy back. So thank you for praying for her. So worship, what is it? Where did it come from? What is this word? Well, I did a study on this maybe 10 years ago, and I wanted to bring that up again because it isn't just, I worship you, Lord. It is, how do you feel when you're worshiping? You know, and there are plenty of people that worship the world, and there are plenty of people that worship idols, and there are plenty of people that worship God. What are these different worships? Well, first thing we're going to do is look at the word worship and understand where it came from, what it is. So imagine God is in heaven, and history is moving along, and all of a sudden here comes the Romans, and then there are people that settle England. And in the people that settle England and Scotland and all of this language comes out of this group of people called English. And so what God has to do with this English, okay, so he's got this English language now. And it's England, it's British. Okay, so that's how the word English came along. It was England. If you were from England, you're an Englander. You're an Englander, are you know? Like you're a Scotsman or you're an Irishman. You're a German. So the English had a whole new language. So here's God in heaven. And he is wanting, and they are wanting to express their love for God. They are giving, you know, the definitions of worship are homage, reverential fear, total awe, but it's a new language, English. How do we translate what God is trying to say that's already established in other language into English? Well, English is an island. And all these, it was only a place that dealt with ships. And England, of course, became a world of ships. England became so big. They controlled the world because of ships. But they built these ships because they were on an island. In order to have commerce with the main coast in France and Spain and all of these places, they had to have ships. So God used this at the beginning of their language, because there were ships that carried cargo, there were ships that did this, and ships, you know, for traveling and moving people around and all of that. But then there was the ship that was full of riches, furs and diamonds and gold, ships that were bringing over the king's ransom, the king's tributes from other countries, the valuable things that were being traded. And so what came into their language because of this was there was a ship that was actually the Worth, W-O-R-T-H, ship, Worth ship, which is where we get worship from, because it was a worthy ship. It was worth something. It contained the diamonds, the needs, the furs, the supplies, the food. So a ship was worth. And this is the basis of the word worthship that we changed to worship. So when you are saying the word worship from now on, I want you to think of that galleon, that the big ship with all of the cannons on it, and I want you to think of this, all of the grandeur and the majestic and the flags and the oils and the gold and the silver in the hull, and I want you to see it come over the horizon, and how everyone would be so happy as these sails came into sight, and this ship would come into the harbor because it would be laden with all of the things that they needed, all of the things that were valuable, because they're on an island, they're separate. So as we are separated from this world, as we are put on the island of Christianity, on the place where we have to go out and evangelism, go out and save the world and preach the gospel, it is because we are in a place of safety. We are in a place of protection, like England was. England had the water for borders, so they couldn't be warred upon like the other countries. I mean, why didn't one of the other countries take over the world? Why didn't one of the other countries have ships going around the world and becoming the richest country, continent on the earth, the richest country? Because England was an island. They had to have ships. They became good at ships. So that's what they needed. And the same thing with Christianity. We have the Spirit of God. We have the love of God. We have everything that God has given us to be the harbor of all good things and the doer of the make sure everyone else gets it. So when you say the word worship now, I want you to think of that ship that has everything. That God is that ship. God is the ship. He has the supplies. He has the gold. He has the armor. He has all of the needs. And he is coming into the harbor of your life with this. And it is provision for you. And so when we get back to this, you see now the two types of worship are everything the world can bring you. You can turn it into worship. Everything the world can try to show you as they are the ones that have everything is a different type of worship. So in Matthew chapter 4, we see an actual opportunity to look at both. There are three numbers in the Thayers, and they are, if you're going to write these down, there is the wrong kind of worship is 3426. The good type of worship is 4352. And then the more selfish kind of worship is 4573. So let's look at the 3428 first, which is, I think I buried my book here. I'll put my pen in Romans. And we're going to go to 3428 first. I should have put a bookmark in there. I should be able to get back to it pretty quick. 37, so I'm in my Thayers. Okay, so you can easily get into your Thayers. And I thought I put a bookmark in the Bible, not in the Thayers. Sorry about that. 35, 34, 99, 34, 79, 39, 34. Here we are. All right, so 34, 28, 26. All right. Oh, 34, 28, yeah, 26. It's 34, 28. All right, this is a word that was unknown. So obviously, God brought it into being in the early Greeks and things like that. But it says here, it's proper, Romans, always on the watch for the adulteress, or for which is an adulterous desire, listen to this, beams forth. Man. And it says that another description of this is that God made it clear to Israel that being a part of him was like being married. So when you turned your face from God, it was considered an adulterous act. It says here, intimate alliance with God, with people of Israel, his alliance with Israel was likened unto marriage, and those who relapsed into adultery were said to commit the adultery or play the harlot. All right, to have relations with another man's wife. So that is the bad worship. Eyes always on the watch for the adulteress, from which the adulterous desire beams forth. Boy, I'll tell you, I think I've seen that in movies. Maybe you've seen that in movies. A woman that's in the movie that's the wrong one. She's trying to allure a man. She'll have that look on her face that is drawing him in. I am ready to be intimate with you. I'm ready to. It's an agenda, obviously. But the thing is that this comes from Matthew chapter 4. And Matthew chapter 4, where I did put my bookmark, starting in verse 9, and Satan said to Jesus, I will give you all of these things. All of these things will I give to you if you will bow down or fall down and worship me. That is 34:27. Or 28, 27, 28. Isn't it funny that the book says 34, 27, let's see, 34. Let's take a look at that real quick. And if you will fall down and worship me, 34:27. But over here it says 34:25, 34:26, 34:28. There is no 34:27 in the Thayers. So then when I looked into 34:28, that's where it said, it combines the two and talks about the harlot. So then it says, Jesus said unto him, Go, Satan, for it has been written, You shall worship the Lord your God. Okay. And him only shall you serve. All right. So now there's the second kind of worship. And that worship is the worship of God, which is 43:52 in the Thayers. And 43:52, which will jump right back over there to my little mark. Here it is. There it is. 43:52. To prostrate oneself, to kiss the hand, a token of reverence. The next it says, hence among the Orientals and Persians, things like that, all the different people try to, it says to fall upon the knees and touch the ground and fall forward as an expression of profound reverence. Traditionally to do homage, to make obeisance, to order, to express, to respect, to make supplication. It is used in homage to show men of superior rank. Let's see, to homage rendered to God and the ascended Christ, to heavenly beings, and also can be given to demons. Isn't that something? So you see, that's what demons want. They want that worship. They want you to fall down. But and here, in the other one, which was 4573, boy, you're going to like this. So keep in mind, this one says homage on falling to the knees, falling forward, falling face down, prostrate. And now we're going to 4571, 73. 4573, which should be, there it is, right there. 63, pin page over. All right, 4573. Now, 4573, by the way, that's where we go to Romans chapter 1. And that's the one we already read, which is they gave, and about worshiping the creature instead of the creator. So this is the wrong kind of worship. Okay, 4573. All right, let me lost that. Here it is. Okay, Reverend. To honor religiously, to worship, and to be afraid, to fear. Isn't that interesting? Now, it's not talking about fear as in reverence, as in awe. It's talking about scared fear. And it says in this translation is the fear to be afraid kind of fear. Then it also says it can be used to honor religiously, to worship. Okay, now, this is what made me excited about this teaching and the understanding of worship, was that one's forward, one's back. Ooh, I thought, now that helped me a lot. That I want you to have this emotion. I want you to have this feeling, this understanding that when you're worshiping God, you are falling forward. You are going towards Him. You are when you go to your knees, you're going forward. Your knees will be in front of your feet, and then you will fall forward and fall on your face. You're falling forward. And yet, when it says here, worship and afraid, they're falling back. They're scared because of what they're seeing. You got to remember, this could be, an extremely demonic force or entity or something like that is manifesting, and people fall back in fear. And so that is the kind of worship the devil wants. He wants you to fall back in fear. He wants you to be, oh no, and fall and be scared and crawl away. That is worship to him. I know. And yet to worship to God is to see Him as the one who is coming into the harbor with all the goods and supplies that you need. But but the devil worship is fear and scared and run. So there are these two basic things. Now, why is this? Well, both receive from it. Like we just read, you can worship demons, and they receive that worship. You can worship God, and He receives that worship. But how you worship, is the peaceful worship, the awe, the love of God, and you fall towards Him, or the fear and the scare, and you fall away, is both worship. I have a little teaching that I have, and one of the things I do in that teaching is I talk about preparation for the presence. This just reminds me really quickly about that when you are worshiping, you are preparing your mind, your body, your area. I have a certain place that I pray. I have a certain set of music that I use because I am preparing that place for God's presence. I am lining up the spirit realm, my physical realm, the electrons, the neutrons, everything by worship and praise. When you are worshiping and you are praising, you are lining up sound and words, and the air is vibrating with your voice in a certain frequency of worship, of praise, and of adoration towards God. And you are just lost in yourself, where you fall to your knees and you just feel this presence touch you, and everything is lining up around you, and you can say, God is here. But he's always there. But we as believers, with our words and our music and our attitude, we line up with our worship to receive it. We are in the right place at the right time feeling when we are worshiping. And we have prepared ourselves and the presence around us for God to be able to come in. Now, it's kind of like putting on your rubber gloves to do the dishes, or asbestos gloves to mess with fire. Okay, without those rubber gloves, without the asbestos gloves, you get hot, you get burned, you can't do the job. So you have prepared with these gloves for the presence of the heat and soap and the fire that you're dealing with. All right. Now, you are still inside those gloves. You haven't changed. You can't just put your hand in fire, but you can put gloves on that let you put your hand in fire, or very hot water that lets you do the job. In a way, that is, you have prepared, okay? That is the way you handle it. So when you're worshiping, you're putting on that coating. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because God is too much to handle. So when you're worshiping and you're lining up your area, your prayer, I want you to pray in the same spot in your house every day. I want you to think of that as your spot, your portal, your place where you and God meet. That is, I have found it to be a tremendous help, to have a certain place where my body, my mind, my attitude quickly gets into prayer, and forms the presence of the Lord comes quicker, because things are lined up there. Because once my words have lined up, once my sound has lined up, once my music has lined up, it's like God, who holds himself back in order not to judge, is now comfortable to move in and spend time with you, because you've prepared yourself for him. It's not going to shock you when he shows up, because you're ready for him to show up. And so that's what worship does. It lines you up, it sets you up. And this worship puts out this presence, this odor, this connectivity to the spirit realm that allows God to filter in and touch you. Don't think of worship as something that you gotta do. Worship is like the smoke from a fire. Okay, it is filling, the area. If you're on a campground or whatever, it chases off the mosquitoes. It does all these things, and it fills the area with the smoke, and it fills the area with the smell of burning wood. And so then, in my case, when I'm around a campfire, I actually have more desire to have conversation. I have more desire to be close to people, intimate, and to open up other doors of conversation that you don't normally do around a water cooler. And so, because the smoke and the fire have prepared the relaxing environment for things to happen. So that's what worship does. It prepares the environment. You are making yourself available for God. So thank you for being with me. I love you, but Jesus loves you more. And we'll see you next Thursday.